Pythagorean theorem example 3. For example 3, we're going to actually have to use the Pythagorean theorem twice to finally find our missing side they're looking for in our triangle, which would be this longest side. If you look, it is actually part of a bigger right triangle. So in that bigger right triangle, this would be side C. We have a leg over here that's 7 meters. And we have a leg on the bottom, but we don't know how long the entire leg is. In order to figure out how long the entire leg is, we actually need to find the missing side of a smaller right triangle. Right here. With a leg of 7 and the hypotenuse of 7 3/8. That will help us find that bottom part and the missing part of our longer leg. So let's go ahead and find the parts for that missing. Let me erase some of our highlights there. So looking at my smaller right triangle, I'm going to be finding, I'll just label this as A and this one is B. So A squared plus 7 squared equals 7 3/8 squared. I'm going to go ahead and move my 7 squared to the other side, so I'm going to subtract that. Now I'm going to go ahead and do that instead of finding the square of each of those, because I want my decimal when I take my square root to be as exact as possible. Okay. So once I have that, I have a squared equals 7.38 squared minus 7 squared. Take the square root of both sides. And a would equal, so I'm going to type that into my calculator. Let me pull that up. So second square root and 7 3/8 squared minus 7 squared and equals, that would be 2.337605 613. And I want to keep all those decimal places because we're going to be reusing that number. And the more decimal places I have, the more accurate it will be. So now let's look at our bigger triangle. So now I know this A value right here. That's going to be that 2.3376, and it keeps going. So to get that whole side, I need to add those two together. Okay, so looking at that larger right triangle, I still have a side of 7. So let me draw a line here to kind of separate those. We would have 7 squared plus, and I can add those two together. That would give me 7.437605613 squared equals c squared. So I'm looking for that hypotenuse now. So then I would take the square root of both sides to get my c value. So I'm actually going to use my calculator here, and I'm going to add plus that 5.4 from the other side. So you can see I have that oops, that added a little incorrectly there, so that should be 7.7 right there. Okay, so in your calculators, you can actually use the stow button kind of in the bottom left corner. And I can actually store that number, so I don't have to keep retyping it. And I can store it as X. If you click on the button up above it, I can just store it as X and hit enter. And now anytime I type in X, it'll be that number. So then I can do my square root of 7 squared plus, and then I'm going to use that X value that I had, X squared, and hit enter. And so my C value would be 10.43410.469. I think I have all those right. Yep. Okay. So then it asks us to round to the nearest hundredth, and notice it says final answer. We never round until we have our final answer. So then my C value would be 10 and 43 hundredths meters.